where Sid in particular thrives, and the other two guys can complement him in that game. So they just have good chemistry. They have three really good hockey players, and they're playing really well for us right now.
Michael, we were talking to Michael Bunting a few minutes ago. He said Kevin Hayes gave him some advice early in the season when things weren't going well for him. He wasn't in line. He said, "This too shall pass." I'm wondering if that's generally a good piece of advice for guys who are going through something like that. And also, as a team, did you guys kind of need to have that approach when things weren't going as well as they have been the last month?
Well, I think it's important that you keep things in perspective. And, you know, it's when things don't go the right way and the noise kicks up around us, thanks to you guys. I think that's the world that we live in, and if we're not diligent, I think we can get overwhelmed by that circumstance. And my experience has been, you know, when you go through struggles, and inevitably most teams do, most players do, because it's a hard game out there, that you have to focus on those things that are within your control. And for me, I always talk, the first two things we talk about with our players is attitude and effort, because those are two things that you have complete control over. So when it's not going the right way, part of the solution is always to simplify, whether you're an individual player or a team, and make sure that you ignore some of the noise and the chatter, and you just focus on the controls. And that's what we try to do early in the year. You know, we're not going to hit the panic button and get overwhelmed by the circumstance. We're going to try to bring solutions to the table every day, and we're going to try to solve those challenges as they come. So I do think it's good advice. I think, you know, if you don't take that approach, you will fall victim of being overwhelmed by circumstances.
Mike, I know it's easy to focus on the 7 goals that your team scored tonight, but there was a sequence in the third period you were up to. Gino made 3 or 4 really good defensive plays in his own zone. I know you talked with him before the season, wanted to see some changes in his game. How pleased are you with just the progress he's made and just the commitment to winning that he's showing right now?
Yeah, I think G's making a concerted effort. You know, he's trying to play the game the right way. He's trying to adjust his game. And that's what we're asking of him. And so, you know, his intentions are in the right place. And, you know, it's not perfect, but he sure still can make a lot of good plays. And so we don't want to take the stick out of his hand, but we have to have some calculation to our game. We can't play a high-risk game, because it's just hard to win in this league when you play a high-risk game. And so we're asking G to be calculated with his decision-making, understanding the score of the game, the time on the clock. Are you late in the shift? Are you early in the shift? You have speed, you have numbers. There's so many things that go into situational play and situational awareness. And so those are the conversations that we've had with him. I think his intentions are right where they should be.
Mike, Bunting was a healthy scratch for several games early in the year. How did he respond to that at the time? And what do you feel like has enabled him to come all the way back and contribute at a pretty high level?
Well, I think he responded the right way. And, you know, players have a choice to make when those circumstances present themselves. And I think Bunch chose, you know, he chose to dig in. And, you know, him and I had a number of honest conversations about his situation on the team, and we just didn't feel like we were getting the best version of him, and we felt like he was capable of more. And performance matters, and there is a level of accountability associated with it. I think Bunce is a great pro. I thought he handled it extremely well, and since he's been back in the lineup, he's been a consistent producer for us. He has an uncanny ability to score goals.
Third period, going into that, even really the intermission after Bunce gets a big goal for you. What do you want to see from the team? Because obviously the Flyers didn't get a whole heck of a lot in that period.
Yeah, I didn't think we played very well at all in the second period, but give the Flyers credit. They elevated their game, and they pushed, and they've got some skill. and they competed hard. I thought they out-competed us in the second period. We were losing puck battles. I don't think our intentions were in the right place. We weren't playing straight ahead. We were turning pucks over. You know, we were getting beat one-on-one. There was no physicality to our game. And I think it's, you know, that was our observation of how the second period went. And that was a conversation we had between periods. And, you know, we have to do a better job when we, you know, we come out, we have a great first period, the power play gets a couple goals for us, you know, we score 4 goals in the first period. You know, I don't know if we just exhaled or we thought, you know, that's how the game was gonna go, but, you know, I have too much respect for the Flyers, their players, their coaches. You know, I knew they were gonna push. And most teams do. This is a proud league, and so we've got to make sure that, you know, our intentions are in the right place, and I just didn't think they were in the second period. And that was the conversation that we had, and we're capable of better. I thought the players reacted extremely well. We were above the puck in the third period. We were above the attack in the third period. The neutral zone was way tighter. They had to get through numbers through the neutral zone. I felt like we took some of their speed away because of the numbers and the structure of the neutral zone. And I think we're a lot harder to play against when we have that discipline and that diligence and play with instruction. And I give the players a lot of credit. I thought they competed really hard, and I thought their attention to detail was where it needed to be.
Three more, seven, right?
Mike, this was the first full game, at least with Dio and Chris from United as defensive pair, just how you guys performed. How helpful is that familiarity, chemistry, just given that you're scrambling your defensive pairs right now as a team?
Yeah, I thought it was like they didn't miss a beat. You know, I just think they have chemistry. You know, you guys are well aware of the relationship that they have. You know, it's kind of like a big brother, little brother relationship, and I just think it looked to me like they didn't miss a beat. They just they play pretty well together, you know, and they defend the rush extremely well with their mobility and their sticks. They can both pass the puck. They're both mobile. They have the ability to get back to pucks and help us on the breakout. They have the ability to help us on the offensive blue line by being active when we have possession in the offensive zone. So I thought they played well. You can see the chemistry that they have.
Dan on the left.
Mike, I know we talked this morning about you coaching against Torts. I'm curious if the great start tonight had anything to do with maybe something you did, some tweaks that you made, and maybe their push in the second period had something to do with tweaks that he made.
I don't know. I think we had a good start in the first period because our players played really well, and you know, our power play I thought was executing. You know, we get a couple power play goals. Sid's line was extremely good in the first period. I think that's why we had a good first period. You know, it's whenever I coach against Torts, you know, I know what he's trying to do. I think he knows what I'm trying to do. So there's a little bit of a cat and mouse game that goes on. It's the game inside the game. You know, he was looking for certain matchups, trying to get certain guys out against Sid's line, and we were looking for certain things on our side. Obviously, when you're the home team, you have the benefit of the last change, but when it's on the fly, you know, you're trying to anticipate who's coming over the boards, and you're not always right sometimes. And so those are situations where they're not as easy to control. But my sense is that he probably knows where I'm going with my bench, and I got a pretty good idea where he's going with his.
Last one, right?
Mike, Sid tonight matches Mario in assists. Obviously Sid is Sid, but how would you contextualize anybody matching Mario in anything given his stature in the league and in the city?
I just think it's elite company. You know, Mario is one of the greatest players of all time, as is Sid. And you know, the milestones that these guys reach. You know, there's very few players in the history of the game that have reached these milestones that Mario and Sid and some of our guys have reached here most recently. And so I just think it's just it's one more piece of evidence to suggest that, you know, Sid is one of the very best players of all time, and as we know, Mario is as well. I mean, their legacy just continues to grow, and so I think it's pretty cool that you have you know, two generational players in one organization that had a little bit of crossover. But to have those two players play for your team in the city for, it's almost 3 decades, what an incredible privilege to have two players like that, of that ilk, that played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's remarkable. And so I just think it's just one more milestone to suggest that he is an elite company. He's one of the very best players that